Hello everyone. So here is Amos Kijita. We are at Physics University poultry farming. The poultry farming is the rearing of chicken and other domestic birds. So the the topic of the day is rearing of chicken like a pro. So here I'm going to take that through. So the first thing is there are factors we have to consider during brooding. So the first factor is temperature. Temperature should be favorable and should be optimal to contain the temperature of the chicks. So the second factor you have to consider is the feeder. Yes, the feeder of the that will be used to feed the chicken must be clean before feeding the chick. So the second factor you have to consider is the water. The water must be available and also the equipment that will be used to give the chicks water. The second thing is the lighting of the brooder. The brooder must be like where we use infrared lamps that will here you see the infrared lamps that will enable the chick to access light and also able to feed when there is no light during the day. The next thing we have to consider is the beddings. So the beddings on the brooder, like here in the case of Mo University, the floor is of concrete. So the floor is use of concrete, you have to put the sodas. So the sodas system will allow to insulate the chicks from getting cold from the floor. So the next thing we are going to consider here is the other thing is the brooder itself must be round and spacious for chicks to allow space to feed and give time to spread during after feeding. So on arrival of the chicks are vaccinated before being unloaded to the brooder. So the chicks are vaccinated against the Newcastle, Rubor, and so the chicks are vaccinated against Newcastle, Boro, and Marex. So after the chicks are vaccinated, they are unloaded from the box which are being used to transport them in the brooder. So the chicks are now being unloaded to the brooder itself, and the chicks are left for around 1 to 2 hours to settle. And also the another thing we have to consider is that the chicks are you make sure that the chicks are able to eat and drink water well in the brooder itself. So the next thing we have to do is after the arrival of the chicks, the chicks are being checked for 2 to 6 hours after 24 hours. The another thing is that for after 2 to 3 days, the feeders and waterers are permanent water feeders and waterers are being implemented on the brooder. So the next thing on brooder management is that the distribution of it. So there are maintenance that make the brooder make it to be crucial in the brooder. So the first one is when there is high temperatures in the brooder, the chicks tend to move around the brooder to on the corner of the brooder. So the another one is the evenly distributed. So that is when the temperature is evenly and condition and is favorable for the chicks when the chicks are evenly distributed on the brooder. So the another one is there is drought. The drought is when there is low temperatures on other side, so the chicks tend to move to one corner to make themselves comfortable and make temperature be favorable for them. So another one is when there is low temperature. When the temperature is low, the chicks tend to move to where the temperature is where the production of temperature is produced and moving towards the heat.
Hello everyone, my name is Geoffrey Karanja. Today visited Moi University Poultry Unit, and today I'll be taking you through housing and management practices and marketing. First and foremost, I'll start with housing. So the requirements of the poultry house, number one, it should be well ventilated to ensure free air circulation. Number two, lighting. So lighting prevents cannibalism, and also it prevents lighting also use movement of the farmer to maneuver so as to avoid injuring the chickens, and also to avoid personal injuries. Next is the litter. There should be the floor is raised of concrete, and the sawdust is laid on it to avoid dampness, and also to insulate the heat, so that the heat can be well maintained in this poultry unit. So next is on feeding. So these are the feeders. They should be evenly distributed for ease feeding and to avoid overcrowding. So also these are the waterers. They should be raised above the ground to avoid water contamination. So this is feeding. Now it's marketing. So marketing of poultry products. So marketing involves selling of poultry and poultry products. So poultry products such as eggs can be sold, and feathers can be sold in making clothes, and beaks are also fed, and they can be sold in making feathers for ornamental. And then chicks can be sold from 1 day old, above 20 weeks old, according to farmers' preference.